Hey game designers, in this video we're going to teach you guys how to get all of our frames aligned on one position in preparation for some final touches for animation. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at all of our frames here, and you can see here we're going to skip frame one. We're going to start the walking animation. This is going to be its own frame. We're going to start with this animation here because if you think about him walking, his legs are together, then his legs are apart. So we're going to go this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, all the way through. Okay, so we're going to start with frame two. Now I'm going to hold control and just select all the frames that I want to duplicate. Okay, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Right, and that selects all of them here. I'm going to right click and duplicate layer. And now you see all the copies on top of one another. And now I'm just going to stick this one right here, the one that I'm going to start with, to the bottom so I can keep it in order here. And I'm going to go ahead and rename them. I'm going to double click _1, double click _2, double click _3, double click _A4, double click _A5, double click _A6, _A7, 8, A9, 10, 11, 12, A13, and A14. So we should have 14 frames, and this makes sense because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so now that we have our 14 frames, let's go ahead and move the first frame over. So I'm just going to use the move tool here and make sure that you have auto select off so that you don't select like a piece of Homer, that you're moving the entire folder here. And I'm going to click on A1. I'm going to go ahead and drag it over. Okay. And for now, let's not worry about like aligning it all that well. Just try to get your best to have it on the ground. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in here and just try to get Homer on the ground. Okay. And I'm going to zoom back out. And now I'm just going to move every single one of the Homers on top of this Homer. So here's frame two. And you're going to do your best to align it. Okay. Don't worry about it if it's not perfect because we're going to end up moving our homers anyway. And we can turn off, by the way, all the other ones. So all the other frames that we have, we're going to turn it off because this is going to help us with our resources. So we're going to turn off all the frames that are not the copies because we don't want to move our originals. Okay. And now you can see that we have the right order here. So now we don't see the A2 frame anymore or the duplicate of it. So we're just going to go ahead and move it over here, place it on top, go to A4, place it on top. And again, don't worry about it if it's not perfect. Just do your best, try to get on the ground. A5, because we're going to end up using our arrow keys and getting that precision that we want anyway. So again, moving Homer over, moving Homer over. And I'm going to keep going, just keep moving Homer over. And again, don't worry if it's not perfect yet. We will deal with that later. Go ahead and move Homer over here. Moving Homer here. Okay, now we're going to zoom in. And now I'm going to turn off all the other homers and just go frame by frame and make them align with one another. So I'm going to start with A1. And what I'm going to do is use my guideline. So if you don't have your guidelines, you can go to rulers, okay, and make sure that you have show guides on. And you're going to drag a guide and basically put it to the left of Homer's shirt. Okay, so I'm looking for the left of Homer's shirt. Okay, then I'm going to grab another guide and go to the right of Homer's shirt. Now this is going to help us prevent jittering. Okay, now if you're having a hard time, just go ahead and move in closer. Okay, grab the guidelines here and get it just right. Okay, you can see here that it's right just perfectly in between. Try to get Homer to be on the ground. This looks good. And now I'm going to start going. I'm going to turn off A1, go to A2. Now A2, make sure you select it. I need to make it the same thing in terms of alignment. Get it on the ground and in between these two lines. Now it's best to use your arrow keys here. So here's your chance to use the arrow keys. I'm using my arrow keys to go left and right. And I'm getting him again to his shirt straight in between these two. And this will again prevent jittering left and right. So there's A2, let's go to A3, and you can use your arrow keys. Now again, if you're seeing this problem right here, it's because you're not selecting on the layer. Select on the layer and get it just right. That looks good. Go to A4, click on the, the appearance one. You can see that this one's way off. I can use the down arrow to move it down, left and right. Okay, that looks good. Go to A5. Okay, use the arrow keys, move him down. Okay, go to A6. Okay, go to A7. Okay, go to A8. Again, trying to get all the homers aligned and on the ground. Okay, in between the two lines. That looks good. A9. Again, I'm just using my arrow keys, getting him just aligned the way I want it. Again, just arrow keys, getting him in between on the ground, in between the two lines here. And this one's not too far off here. That looks good on the ground. That looks good. A4. Okay, and there we go. So now we got all of Homer adjusted, aligned correctly. So now if you kind of go through all the frames, you can see kind of Homer going up and down, but he's not jittering left and right because we aligned it with his shirt, um, and that looks good. Okay, so now in the next video, we'll talk about how to adjust his height and use the squash and stretch method to get him to look, to get his walk to look more consistent. Let's actually, before we go on this video, take a look at why we need to do some height adjustments. So if I export as GIF right now and take a look at Homer, you can see here that there's some teleportation going on. His head kind of teleports, his body kind of teleports. Um, his bottom looks like he has a limp, right? So there's some inconsistency with his waist and his joints. So it looks kind of clunky, right? We're going to do some height adjustments and some squash and stretch, and it will look a lot more organic, okay? So let's go ahead and see that for the next video.